What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros. It is the live show, and we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about a lot of different coins, but one of the ones that seems to be catching some headlines here today, also has been ripping over the last couple of days, is VeChain. VeChain is pumping, and an article was actually released today saying that even at the current price level that we're currently sitting at for VeChain, we could still see a 48x to the upside. That would be over 4,700% gain. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's really no other coin in the top 100 that I think could do this. And we're going to do something special on today's show. We're actually going to dig into this. Someone messaged us a couple of days ago saying, hey, what's your long-term price prediction for VeChain? And I hadn't actually ever done the research on it. And to this day, I still have not gone in to find all of the details that I would need to get to give an honest price prediction about VeChain. Well, there's not necessarily too much other news going on. So on today's live show, we're going to do some Bitcoin TA. We're going to take a look in the Q&A section at the altcoins you want to look at. We'll talk about all the relevant news that you do need to know, but we're also going to do our very best during the live show to walk you through our process of how we make realistic price predictions for coins like VeChain. So if you are excited to see that, not only to get the answer for VeChain, but also see that method so you can apply it to other coins of your choice, make sure you go ahead and stick around for the entire show. If you're subscribed already, smash that like button now. Let's get more people in here. Let's see what happens. If you are new here, thank you so much for choosing our channel. Strap on in because it's going to be a fun one. But before we get into all those details, I am going to introduce my co-host for today, Mr. T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are we feeling?
Well, Tim, I'm feeling better than I deserve, and you'll notice I've got something on my finger right here. This is a faux wedding ring. I've got my real one over by my other computer. I don't really know exactly what the status is on wearing a wedding ring before you're married. Apparently, it's not good for the man, but good for the woman. Not a thing. No. Anyway, I got Amanda got me this for Valentine's Day. It came in a pack of a couple different ones, so I am on cloud 9, Tim. I've got commitment on my hand here, and I'm loving every minute of it. And I've got a stunning quote here. I honestly don't know what this quote means, but I think it's one of those where like
those
5 years.
The best quote.
Yes, I think it's a good quote, but I just don't understand it. It's one of those that's like 5 years from now, you're going to be like on a roller coaster or something. It's going to hit you. Oh my gosh, the meaning of this. If you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. That's Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War.
If you wait by the rivers long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by.
What's your take on that one, Tim? I
don't know, because the enemies would be upstream, but they're dead, so they're floating on by. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an army general or anything. Is there some tactical advantage of being upstream? I mean, you don't have to drink the pee of your enemy. That's an advantage right there.
I think what it means, my interpretation of it is that humans' force in the world is futile, especially when our pride is involved, and it's better to just let nature, which has been the OG winner of the universe, just let nature do your bidding, whatever bidding you think you have in the universe. But I don't know. That's my best guess. I think it's wrong.
I don't know. Out of curiosity, how did this one get selected as the quote of the day?
Well, because it's Sun Tzu. It's one of those that you gotta expose yourself to it and then let it marinate. Kind of like Bitcoin, the whole concept of blockchain and decentralized technology.
Arslan Sukhin means patience. You're right. Drew P says, stop overthinking it. You're right, guys. Listen, yes, it means patience. But the problem is, what happens if your enemy set up camp downstream? You'll never know if they died or not. So in this scenario, I am overthinking it, but I'm properly overthinking it. What's the significance of being downstream from your enemies? I don't know. I don't know.
It's interesting that you went there, Tim, because we're going to get to the crypto here in a second. But my interpretation had very little to do with the actual, your proximity to the river. Is more to do with just nature will do things that you never would have expected. Kind of like yesterday's quote, where courage is found in unexpected places.
Maybe. Quotes are found in unexpected places. Drew P says he meant make sure you buy VeChain in 2023. I think that's the true meaning. The true meaning is the enemies upstream do not buy VeChain.
That's right.
And it's actually too late to buy it in 2023. So if you didn't buy it in 2023, it turns out you're the enemy that's going to be floating dead downstream past your people. All right, we have beaten that quote. like a dead horse with a stick. Let's go ahead and
I think we are the ones floating down the river now.
I don't think we're going to survive this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a quick look at VeChain, but I'm going to save a lot of the information again. We're going to it's going to get sloppy. It might get messy. You guys might even have some dead air, but we're going to do some price prediction long-term for VeChain live on the show. Bitcoin, though, it is moving slightly down. We talked about this yesterday. We're down to 51.8. The low for the day here has actually been all the way down to 51.620. Now, I don't think the small bleed is over, but I don't think that the pump is over either. We talked about this yesterday, how I think that there's a good chance we at least make one more push to the upside to double top, if not get a slightly higher high over here. Wouldn't be surprised after that if we do get a little bit of bearish divergence forming, though. But you are seeing the bearishness come in here. Remember, I told you guys to look for the negative money flow. We had the red reversal at the top. We had the bearish divergence. We had the bearish momentum. All we needed was to see the money flow actually go negative. Well, on the 4-hour chart here earlier this morning, it is going negative. Over in our members-only trading group, which if you guys join as members here on YouTube, you get to go into that. So it's not like this a elective group on top of that. Only $5 a month, and you guys get to all this special access. You guys should really go check out that button down right below where you guys are watching here. But we talked about shorts in bulk right now, guys. Thank you for pointing this out to us, T-Shroom. Shorts in bulk today. I actually did enter a Cardano short, which is doing decently for me. I have my take profit at the moment on Cardano down here towards 50, almost 52 cents. I think I'm somewhere right around 53 cents right there in the take profits. If you're looking here on the 4-hour, there's order blocks kind of sitting in right here on that level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But I might revert and come back closer towards 54, 55, depending on what I see the oscillators doing. Here on the 4-hour chart, you will see that we got a green reversal, but the money flow is still negative. We're still in a bearish movement right here on the 4-hour chart. I do want to keep an eye on that, though, because it does look the money flow. It's still negative, but it's slowing down here. Let's take a look what the hourly chart is doing. Yeah, we're still going negative, so I feel safe staying in that short. Got a little green reversal there as well. But as a whole here, guys, not that much different than yesterday. Again, we saw all the take profit signals on the longer time frames, but the daily chart still showing positive money flow here. And so I'm still going to sit here and wait and think that potentially within the next couple of days, we might pull back a little bit more here on Bitcoin, pull back on more some of those alts, and then you might see a pump come in that, again, double top / bearish divergence coming before we get an actual reversal. But as it stands right now, we are still bullish. This is not time to be selling in bulk. Even if we do see lower levels, like on Bitcoin, I'm still holding that there's a decent chance we see 32. I'm not predicting 32K is going to be coming in the next couple of days. I think we have further upside to go before that happens. That is what I'm seeing here on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the coin of the day, though, that everyone is discussing. That, of course, is VeChain. Let's go to the 4-hour chart here. Of course, it's screaming. It was screaming that we were massively overbought. Quickly, it's corrected here on the 4-hour chart. No longer overbought. You do see the money flow has started to move sideways, and we do have a red reversal with bearish momentum coming in here. If that money flow crosses back below the threshold, remember, we're above the threshold right now. To go truly bearish is not just is the money flow negative. I want to see it get back below the threshold. And with this excessive amount of buyers in the space right here, that shows you how overly bullish it is. But if we see that fall off a cliff and go to zero, there probably will be a decent little short opportunity on VeChain. But the question a lot of people are asking here is how high could this rally get? Let's come out to the daily chart. Let's turn off Lux Algo. We love our Lux Algo indicators, but want to take a look at some things here. We discussed this yesterday. VeChain is probably one of the most underappreciated coins right now and is having a very nice blast off over the last couple of days. But one of the reasons why that's happening is because it really did not do much. Yes, it had a little bit of a rally here in December as well, but it's kind of not had the same explosion a lot of these other coins have had. It only recently here over the last 2 days broke through a lot of its serious resistance with strength, whereas almost every other altcoin has done that previous to now. So VeChain is one that's catching a lot of people by attention, and I'm going to spoil this. I'm going to spoil one of the articles. We'll dive into it, get some more details, and then we'll do some quick work live for you guys to break down what a realistic price prediction for VeChain is. But we've got people out here calling for over a 40 48x to happen on VeChain, even from where price currently is. That would put the price of VeChain well over $2, somewhere between $2 and roughly about $2.30, give or take. It's going to be somewhere right here in this region, $2.20. Let's just kind of fluctuate right there. 4,700% upside, 48x. That would make VeChain more than likely the top mover from here to the top of the bull market, if this happens, of the top 100 coins. I want to start off by saying that is a tall order to accomplish. We got some great competition. We obviously believe that Caspa is going to have a fantastic bull market, even after its big pump it had here last year. Chainlink is going to be a massive mover. I believe that a lot of Ethereum layer 2s as well, such as Matic, Optimism, Arbitrum, these are all coins that are going to have some great bull markets. And of course, Cardano even lagging behind there. But VeChain, if it were to 48x from where it currently is, could be the steal if we could prove that that's definitely going to happen. T-Shroom, what are your thoughts? The limited research you put into VeChain, what are your thoughts about a 48x coming to VeChain over the next 18 months or so?
Yeah, Tim. Here's what I'll say. VeChain has been, it's been competitive in past bull markets. It's obviously stuck around. The team has managed the project well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing about it right now. There's probably 60 projects, really, really good, solid projects that were as developed as VeChain in the last bull market that nobody's going to hear about this cycle, right? That's just the reality of it. So what you have to give up to VeChain is that they're relevant right now. They're relevant in a very important moment when crypto is gathering a lot of retail and much more institutional attention, right? So this is a good sign, right? It's not one of those 60 that nobody knows about but did well last cycle. My hesitation, though, so that's the good side. My hesitation, though, is how many blockchains are there right now, like AVAX, Solana, Cardano, maybe even throw in XRP. How many blockchains out there come to mind that could kind of do what VeChain is setting out to do? And how much more investment is it going to take for VeChain to actually be competitive in doing what they're trying to do? And to be honest with you, kind of browsing over their website, they have some very general goals that are shared by pretty much every other blockchain. What makes them unique is not clear to me for this bull run. I remember in the last bull run, they were very big into logistics and supply chain. It doesn't seem like they're really leaning into that right now from the marketing that I've seen. So overall, am I feeling the FOMO to buy into VeChain? Not at all. Pretty much not at all. I've got my bags packed with coins that I think are going to do well in this bull market. Now, if you know a lot more about VeChain than I do, right? If you're hearing me say all this and you're like, oh no, T-Shroom, the VeChain team, they've been, super focused on tokenization or something, or AI or something like that. If that's true and you know that, you have an edge against the T-Shrooms of the world, right? Who've been in other niches of the crypto industry, kind of honing in on those. And that's great. I applaud you. That's awesome. So that's kind of my take is I'm not feeling the FOMO here, but I'm also somebody who I'm just going to cheer people on who make a lot of money. So maybe I should be feeling the FOMO. I do think that VeChain probably does test higher from where it is today and even the highs that it's put in this week. But I don't know about the 48x that some analysts are predicting.
Yeah, I think that's a good thought right there. What I will say is I'm in the same boat as T-Shroom when it comes to I cannot sit here and give you a strong fundamental case for why VeChain is just so impressive and amazing. The same way I could give you, and I'm not a fundamental expert on technically any coin. You name your coin, you can find somebody else who would destroy me in a debate about the fundamentals. But I have basic understanding of the fundamentals of many projects like Cardano, like Caspa, like Ethereum, like Solana, and others. VeChain's not one that I put a lot of thought into, but because of that, and because I'm only tracking the price action, I've seen / heard a lot of positivity from the community, not even just recently. I've actually been hearing it for months. And so I'm going to give the edge, T-Shroom, to my ignorance, meaning I'm missing out on knowing stuff that's special about their fundamentals, not so that they're nothing special. Again, we have seen them steaming up. We've seen them take some marketing routes here recently, of course. If you're a UFC fan, you probably saw VeChain sponsoring recent UFC events. This is pretty normal. They're trying to get attention. Not every altcoin has gone on massive money spending marketing campaigns, but you have your Ethereums and Cardanos, for example. You're going to say, oh, Tim, they didn't go on massive marketing campaigns. No, they were so early. They actually took advantage of the social media space. Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik Buterin are very public facing figures. One of the things Charles did that set Cardano so far ahead, and the reason it rallied above $3, even though it really wasn't ready to be above $3, was because of the daily live streams from Charles Hoskinson, where he was updating the community on what was happening, really psyching people up. With Vitalik, I mean, he's just created partnership after partnership. He hasn't had to pay for it. I mean, there's people that debate if he paid for certain things behind doors, but he has just gotten a really good community to advocate for him. VeChain is not necessarily one of the top coins. In fact, let's look at the rank of it on CoinMarketCap. VeChain is ranked currently down here at number 30. So impressive when you look at the grand scope of crypto, but it's not a top 15 coin. It's not a top 20 coin. It's top 30. So for them to get the massive attention, they're using a marketing budget. That does not discredit them from being a legitimate project. They're just trying to get their name out there. And if enough people like the name, and if there is the fundamentals to back it up, I do believe 48K could, in theory, be possible. But again, here a little bit in like probably about 10 minutes, we're going to break down for you guys what it takes to get an adequate understanding of what that should look like for their price prediction. Again, someone's out here talking about $2.30, $2.20 range. Put that in perspective for you guys. The previous all-time high was 27 cents. So we're talking about smashing it. It seems a little high for now, but we'll look into the details and see if that is at all possible or realistic and what would actually have to happen for that to be the case. But before we do that, let's take a break from the charts. Let's take a break from VeChain. Let's discuss some of the stories. Now, VeChain will be in some of the stories. We'll bring those back up, and then we'll do our price prediction. But let's get into some other news that's happening here in crypto. Take it away, T-Shirt.
Absolutely, and there's not a ton, going to be honest with you guys, but there's some interesting juicy nuggets here. Speaking of nuggets, gold is on the brain for the media today. Gold funds see big outflows alongside rush of money into Bitcoin ETFs. Could be seeing a rotation. Hey Tim, why don't you pull up the spot price for gold? We haven't looked at that in a while. Okay. So the two largest gold ETFs based on asset under management, AUM, the Spider Gold Shares GLD is the ticker, which began in 2024 with 58 billion in AUM, and the iShares Gold Trust IAU, which is kind of a nudge to its chemical classification there, which started the year with 26 billion, have each experienced net outflows. So both of these ETFs, which contain gold, spot gold, have experienced net outflows. From January 11th to February 14th, investors pulled roughly 2.6 billion out of GLD and about 507 million out of IAU, according to ETF.com. So you're already kind of seeing where this is going. This shouldn't really be rocket science, but it's a little bit of kind of meat on the bones for what we probably already had the suspicion of. This is in contrast to the same period a year ago when both funds saw solid inflows, GLD attracting about 241 million in IAU 86 million. So it's been popular in the past. Out of 14 gold ETFs checked by ETF.com, 11 have seen net outflows since the start of the year. And then we get a quotation here. It's a pretty bad scene right now in the gold ETFs category, said Bloomberg Intelligence senior ETF analyst Eric Bulkanis. Maybe you've heard of him. To be sure, I don't think these people are migrating to Bitcoin ETFs, he wrote, although he said it could partly be a reason for the ugly numbers. So, Tim, what do you think? Do you think that there's a heavy rotation out of the gold thesis and into the Bitcoin thesis, or do you think that people are buying those equities, Microsoft, Apple, and Google with a lot, and Amazon with a lot of excitement and a lot of pops going over there with the AI stories, the Apple Vision, and different things like that?
I think Bitcoin is the hot stuff at the moment. That's some of the arguments we've been making before. I think it's clear that it's more exciting and the potential for your returns look a lot more promising in Bitcoin than gold. I don't know how long that goes on for. I think there will be a period of time. Let's remember here, guys, a lot of people watching this channel understand and appreciate Bitcoin for what it is, not just its price action, not for how much money it can make you in the future, but for what it represents to the future of our planet in the world of finance. There's going to be millions of people who never care. They're just going to want to find the safest / best investment. And for a while, some people have had that gold bug. They've just been like, listen, gold is the most solid form of money. You put it there, and no matter what the dollar does, it's going to be a solid increase of your money. And anytime inflation gets out of control, it's the safest place to hold your money. Well, there's a new kid on the block called Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is still going to be more volatile than gold. So during seasons of heavy volatility, when maybe the candles aren't so green, you might see some of these old heads say, all right, well, looks good. I'm going to take this great money from Bitcoin and move it into something that's more secure to me, and that's going to be gold, because I think that my money, at least for a short amount of time, is safer. So I don't think this is the death of gold whatsoever. It's going to take some years before Bitcoin continues to grow in maturity and shows its true signs as overtaking gold before people care. Also, I don't believe gold's ever going to completely go away. One of the reasons why is because we talked about it before. There's 65 million or more millionaires in the world. So maybe literally they weren't going to have a chance in the first place. But even if BlackRock and Michael Saylor and others sold their Bitcoin, not even every millionaire in the world could own one Bitcoin. There's going to be still a whole sect of people saying, all right, there's that Bitcoin group over there. We're going to stay a gold group over here, and we're going to hold our value in gold. It's not anything to be worried about. I would say if you have an investment in gold, I think your investment in gold is still good. It's just not as good as Bitcoin. In the same way, Bitcoin investment is not as good as Ethereum, and Ethereum's not going to be as good as Solana, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think ultimately money has rotated. I mean, we had China all over the headlines 2 weeks ago, as their economy kind of showed a lot of signs of weakness, heavy weakness with the Evergrande story, with them halting their stock market. But there wasn't a big flow into silver or gold. I've got silver pulled up here, spot price. You can see it's not really made a huge move in 2024, just kind of stayed stable coin mode, which, hey, it's precious metals. It's kind of supposed to do that. In 2024 gold also kind of been stable coin, but also much more recently kind of seeing a sell-off, putting in a new low here. And this is 2024 starting to the right here of this mark. So, not a great look for gold. Now, will it rebound? Possibly. But you would have liked to have seen a big move higher as, presumably Chinese investors rotate out of their stocks over there and their real estate over there and into gold. And you didn't see it. You did see big moves for Bitcoin.
Go ahead and go to my screen here, T-Shirt. Let's take a look here. There could be a big move coming for gold in the next couple of months. And by the way, just because Bitcoin moves up doesn't mean gold has to stay down. We could see both of them climb.
Correct.
Now, there are wicks above here that are going to confuse some, but this level right here at 2,068, very strong level of resistance for gold. As a whole, I'm going to go ahead and just leave that as a flat top. Even though you technically have a couple of wicks to go above it, we had a flat top here on gold, really being suppressed right there on 20,068. We also have a rising level of support going on here. This is an ascending triangle and actually is bullish. This could see the price of gold when we break above that red line with confidence. We could see gold actually have a nice little boost where it climbs up towards 26.56, right? So nice increase on the price of gold. What would that be? Like if you were just buy today and hold till that level, that's a nice 31% gain. That's, again, for most investors, very good. For us crypto investors, we're like, that's a normal Tuesday for us. Here's what I think is coincidental, though. I do think we're going to come back and touch this level one more time. I do think gold is going to pull back here a little bit more, and that Lux Algo kind of confirms it. Take a look right here at what we're looking at. We are under a sell order. Look where the take profit is. It's coming down here towards the green supply band. But it's also on that yellow line once again. So do not be surprised to see gold kind of come down here, touch the yellow line once again, somewhere below $2,000, and then it's going to make its move back to the upside. I'm not long-term bearish on gold. I'm not overly bullish. I mean, again, it's a safe investment. The difference is, though, is if you're looking for a safe place to keep your money, I think those of us in the crypto world just know, hey, it's a little safer. I think it's long-term. You're better with your money to hold it in Bitcoin than gold. But who am I? Other people are going to disagree. That's just what I'm seeing.
Drew P's chiming in. He's got a kind of saying the quiet part out loud here, perhaps. I think as the boomers die off, price of gold starts to trail down. Don't know if I completely agree with that, but I think you're probably onto a little bit of truth there. Dylan Martinez said, not that it's better, it's just a safer buy with the utility of GRT and others. Hasn't really popped off. So that's a comparison to GRT versus VeChain. So GRT, the graph, does a lot of the things that the VeChain does. Kind of back to my original point and my original take kind of on the VeChain concept is like, well, there's a lot of blockchains. And I briefly scrolled through. We got, I think, one or two more stories before we really dive heavy back into VeChain, but just kind of scrolled through their website, and it's like very vague language, right? Which isn't necessarily the worst thing because they're trying to cast a wide net, but blockchain for a better world, okay? What blockchain isn't trying to create a better world? Web3 for better. It's like, doesn't get much more vague than that. Where tech supports sustainability, okay? So it's kind of contrasting from Bitcoin and other proof of work, okay? But there's a lot to do that. VeChain's journey, facts and figures, and probably some relatively impressive statistics here. Low carbon, but ultimately it's like the graph is a good example, of something that's probably better, probably more efficient, just by nature of it, having the luxury of coming out later, learning from VeChain, learning from Bitcoin and Ethereum, and improving and iterating on that. Well, we've got another story here. This one, Tim, broke while we were live yesterday, and now we have a little more context. Elizabeth Warren signs a certificate to honor Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto with a ceremonial flying flag. Americans are forever grateful. So there's what she signed, quote unquote. But here's the skinny, and this is where X comments come in. Very, very helpful. Here's the context. Anyone can purchase a flag that has flown over the U.S. Capitol. U.S. Representative Jim Cooper said. His website, like those of other members of Congress, has a link to the flag program. Therefore, it doesn't mean that Elizabeth Warren has pivoted in her views of Bitcoin. So essentially what happened here, guys, is that somebody bought a flag, some kind of commemorative flag, and probably donated to her whatever campaign or whatever it is. The money went somewhere, probably to a relatively good cause in theory. And so it's just kind of a rubber stamp. She's just signing whatever. She's not actually agreeing that Bitcoin is good, although she probably holds some.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's honestly kind of what we speculated, that this was some sort of goof on Elizabeth Warren. It slipped past her. She had no idea what she was doing. And again, the article even said like, hey, let's be polite and let's just reach out to her and thank her at her private office and her Twitter account. So it's like, all right, and not necessarily yet. Eric Wallen says, Tim, did you buy that flag for your aunt? I did not, but now that I know you can do that, that is an interesting concept.
Yeah, I think we might have to. I think this probably won't be the last we'll hear of this technique, but you have to give it up to Bitcoin Magazine here, because yesterday the news landscape was totally different. It was tumultuous, right? I was fighting to figure out exactly what was going on in the world, and Bitcoin Magazine likely anticipated that and had been sitting on this headline for a while, dropped it, and was able to cause combat with confusion and Gary Gensler's coming out and saying stuff. There's some Fed governor coming out and saying stuff about banks not holding crypto. Bitcoin Magazine played their card really well by saying, hey, here's the leader of the anti-crypto establishment coming out and saying Bitcoin good, and at very least that confuses the money manager who's deciding, should I put my clients into Bitcoin or not, right? It confuses them and makes it not so clear, Bitcoin bad, Bitcoin good. So that's, well played by Bitcoin Magazine. Jeff Bezos making some moves. Jeff Bezos sells more than $2 billion in Amazon stock, so he's freeing up some cash for something. Probably going to buy some Bitcoin, Tim. What do you think? What do you think he's going to buy with that $2 billion?
No idea. I would assume he's going to be reallocating. I mean, maybe he's even. I don't know this guy. He's no longer technically he's no longer the CEO. He has no control. Is he just buying, taking profit now, waiting for a dip and buying back in? Is he going to spread it out into other things? I would love to know that he's buying into crypto, but there's no evidence at this point to say that's definitely what he's doing. So I think the biggest part of this headline is simply, hey, if you have some Amazon stock, it might not be a bad idea to take some profit, because that's going to be a sign that's going to cause a lot of other people to take profit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't have another divorce coming up. Hopefully it's a good thing. Maybe
Is he
he's
remarried?
I don't know. I don't know. But like, I have no idea. Hopefully, he's funding some new projects with Blue Origin, because nobody's a bigger proponent for space travel than your boy T Shroom. Whether or not that's the case, I have no idea. I have no idea what he's liquidating for. If you know in the chat, let us know, even if it's speculation. Got a super chat here from Army Piper.
Read the comments. Yeah, he said read the 2 comments above. We're talking about the flag here. He said they don't even have to do any of that. Drop it off and fill out the form, and bam, done. They sign thousands of certificates, and usually they're signed by auto pens, not even hand signature. Yeah, again, it was a joke. It was just a funny joke, and I like it. So
I think it was more than a joke, Tim. I think it was a nice little tool. I mean, the original person that did it was probably a joke, or it was somebody just at Bitcoin Magazine. But I think I think it did a decent amount of damage in that moment of coordinated, media FUD to try to get people to sell Bitcoin, sell whatever. And that probably helped a couple people hold on to their bags, Tim.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's keep moving on. Let's jump into VeChain. We got like a price prediction here to make. Let's talk about a little more of the articles that kind of sparked this show today, the topic, the title, everything else. VeChain on fire here recently, and that has caused some people to make some pretty bullish predictions here about VeChain.
Absolutely. Well, top analyst reaffirms VeChain projected 4,737% rally to 2.3. Remains intact. So this potential is still intact. That's where we're deriving that 48x on our thumbnail from. Let's check out some of the details here. This is going to be the Twitter account that is basically being credited with the majority of this prediction. VET will unlock your financial chains. Closing this week's candle above the Fibonacci 0.382 level will not only solidify our current position, but also set the stage for us to swiftly reach our next target at the Fibonacci 0.702 level. The quote goes on there, but we'll get to some more details here that are a little more pertinent. The condition of VET's astronomic rally, EggRag, this was the Twitter account, disclosed that VET must close this week's candle above the Fibonacci level. According to him, this achievement will reinforce his standing position and establish the momentum to approach its pivot target. This target corresponds to the Fibonacci 0.702 and with a VET price of 11 cents. Notably, VeChain trades at 4 cents, right, at press time, registering a 5% over the past day. So this is a pretty big prediction. In a scenario where VET maintains the higher price, the analyst has set his sights on a more audacious 131% rally to reach 11 cents. Interestingly, 11 cents represents just the first target in the series of bullish projections for VET in the growing bull run. And the article goes on to essentially, assert higher and higher potential for VET, and it's I wouldn't say it's hard to argue with it, but it is somewhat coherently laid out. Tim, what was your take on this? And do you think that there's really a chance that we could see a 4,700% increase in any crypto, much less VET?
Yeah, again, we're going to have to my thoughts, I kind of articulated earlier, but if people are joining here later, I don't know enough about the crazy strength of VeChain's fundamentals to say it's just going to go above and beyond. Again, we're talking about a move that would make it the number one mover amongst top 100 altcoins. So on the surface, I want to say no, but I'm interested to dive in the details here in a couple of minutes, and get into what it would actually take for VeChain to go that high. And is it even possible? And what is a realistic price prediction? I think we could easily see VeChain set new highs, but remember, former high for VeChain, 27 cents. So 4,700% increase. We're talking about $2.20 to 30-cent range. That's a lot. That is a very, very big. That's over a 10x. I mean, that's close to a 10x. Just even if you bought the previous all-time high, I don't know another coin that is working to 10x from 2021's all-time high. That's quite the feat.
Yeah, it is. And so that has caused suspicion here at the Investing Bros. And so that's why we're investigating. Seriously, 48x? I mean, come on. Let us know in the chat. What do you think about this? Tim, are you ready to dive in and kind of do some calculations necessary to see exactly how this can even be possible?
Absolutely. We got another super chat from Piper saying, to us, D-Gens, it was everything. Still referring to the flag, I do believe. Yeah, it was a fun couple of minutes when it came out and it was hot to talk about. But
yeah, it's true.
Let's go ahead and move on here. Let's talk about
do it.
price predictions. Now, again, the specialness of this one, I do not know the numbers we are about to dive into when it comes to VeChain. I do not know what it means. I saved doing the price prediction for you guys live so you can even get to see some of the process. And T-Shroom and I were talking about it a little bit beforehand. The first thing that you need to understand about price predictions, if you could pinpoint two things, you will know the price. And this is just simple economics. If you know where the supply will be and what the market cap of the coin will look like at that time, bada boom, bada bang, there you go. There's your price prediction, right? Well, that's a lot easier said than done. Let's start off by finding the first one of these things that's a little bit easier to find, and that would be the supply. Where will the supply of VeChain be when we get here? Now, let's start off, T-Shroom. I know you're on your corner. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. So current circulating supply is sitting at 72 billion. I'm going to make sure I read my commas right.
Yep.
But that's 72 billion, 72.7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Total supply, 85.9. Now, it has nothing there as a max supply. If you go over to my screen, I don't know why. This is reading just a quick Google search. Go to my screen here real quick. Max supply. Okay, that's what mine is saying too. 86.7 is max supply. Now, this is done from a couple days ago, what I was looking at. But this is where we're going to get really, really detailed of where the price is going to be at. You want to know the inflation rate. And currently, at least according to Coin Codex, the current inflation rate is 0.28%. So some quick math here. I got to pull out my calculator. We're going to do this live for you guys.
Quick maths.
Let's just go ahead and say we're going to do 2 years. So we're going to go all of 2024, all of 2025. We're currently sitting with a coin market cap on VeChain. Let me go back to it. Number 29. It moved up during the show. It was number 30 when we started the show, and right now it's sitting at 29. So good for VeChain. Again, market cap currently sitting. Supply. Excuse me. Supply is currently sitting at 72.7. Let's do 72.7 times 0.28. That would be okay. I got to do 1.28. Excuse me. 72.7 times 1.28. That would put it in at the end of this year. We're probably sitting closer to 92 billion. Again, what was the max supply?
The max supply, as recorded by CoinGecko, the max supply is this: 86.7 billion.
So that already puts it well above where it's going to be. So I'm assuming that this supply inflation is actually going to go down. Like, this is outdated information. So already we have a little bit of a dilemma here as we're going through this. So, at this point, I'm going to say unless there's something in chat, you guys are welcome to chime in here. You guys can help in the investigation of this. Is there a timeline that people know of that they're slowing down? That's very common in altcoins to have a percentage up to a certain point and then they slow it down. Or is the plan to go ahead and get by the end of this year to that max supply? The information we have to go off of, seeing is that by the end of this year, if 28% stays, or it's 0.28%, excuse me, T-Shroom. We got to go back here and redo this, though. I did this math wrong. So it's going to be 72. Let's go back to this. 0.7 times 1.0028. My apologies. That changes things quite dramatically. That means at the end of this year, we're only sitting at 72.9. If we multiply that 1.0028, we're talking about 73.1. 73.1. Now, that's going to take, at that rate, a ridiculously long time for them to get to their max supply.
So
in fact, I'm kind of confused that that's the rate that they can even stay at.
73.1 is what? That's the max supply?
That's the supply that we should be at if the 28% holds up. If 0.28% inflation holds up as what we're going to be printing out every year, and that just does not seem right to me. Let's go a little deeper in here. Let's take a look at what Coin X is saying here. Diluted market cap, 24 volume. I don't want to see that. I want to see inflation rate. Supply inflation, 0.28%. I've gotta believe that number is not necessarily true. And I was prepared for this just in case this did not work. Let's take a rough estimate here using CoinMarketCap. Let's go back into the history and let's just take a look at what it was. So If we're in February of 2024, let's just see what it was like during February of 2023. If you guys have never explored with this on CoinMarketCap, you're seeing us do it live. So this is pretty cool. Let's scroll down here. Let's find where was VeChain a year ago. VeChain, number 35. It likes to hover in this little area. It was sitting at 72.5, which, again, I mean, that kind of holds up as this last year, 0.28% was a good level. If we go back even further, that's about a 0.28% inflation. Man, they must have a long plan to get these coins out. Let's do this again. Cryptocurrencies, historical markets. Let's look at 2022. 2022. February, let's go the 20th. It's going to be somewhere down here. VeChain. Oh, it did not have a very good 2022. It dropped all the way to 42. Supply back then, all right, 64. So it did take a big jump. So back then in 2022, big inflation. It jumped from 64 billion all the way to 72, but then it went from 72.5 to only 72.7, which leads me to believe that I think that this original calculation might hold up as being true. Again, unless somebody found something different, we're more than likely going to see the supply of VeChain be at 73.1 billion. So let's write this down. My pen just ran out of ink, so I got to grab another one. 73.1. All right. Very interesting number. That's not that much different than where we currently are. So now we're just going to assume we have our answer here. Supply of VeChain is going to be sitting at 73.1 billion. Now, I'm curious. What would a $2.20 price be with that? So here we're going to go. We're going to go 73. Gosh, hit the wrong one. 73, 1, and we're just going to print this out to billion. Divided by $2.20. We are talking about a market cap. No. Let's do this again, guys. Nope. Too soon. Too soon. 73, 1. Goodness gracious. Again, we said we were doing this live, so this is where the ugliness comes in.
Smash the like, guys. You are tuned in to the Investing Bros Math Edition, where Tim does math on a calculator off screen.
All right. You know, what's crazy here is we're only talking about an $160.8 billion market cap. Let's discuss what that would mean. And to do that, let's take a look here. Obviously, that would put it currently at the number. Like, if nothing else moved in price, it would immediately go higher than Tether. It would be still behind Ethereum and Bitcoin. But let's take a look. What was Ethereum? Where were we sitting at in November of 2021? Let's go back to the historical maps here in 2021, and let's see where other things were sitting at that time. We'll go November 28th. Circulating volume, market cap. Here we go. All right. It would still be the number 3 here, but on Binance, but that's okay because the whole market's going to mature. But I'm going to go on a limb here, T-Shroom, and say that I do not think that is going to hold up. I think that that's asking for a lot. In fact, if we get to 160 billion, I do believe you're talking about a coin that's at least flirting with being in the top 10, but more than likely at least in the top 15. And as we were kind of going through these things, let's say even November, again, it was number 29 at the top of that bull market, meaning it really likes to hover in that 30 ranked area. The 30 ranked area, again, back here was only sitting at 7. That's 7 billion right there. Of course, it's going to go higher than that. I'm not necessarily too worried about that. But the problem is that it's like, if it stays in that 30 range, I think we're talking about potentially maybe 50 billion, if that. This is the hard part, by the way, everybody, that we're getting into. We have the supply, 73.1 billion. But now the question is, where will the market cap for VeChain be? And I think that there's a chance that VeChain bumps up and gets above that threshold at 30, ranked 30. But I don't know. I'm asked to chat this. I'm asked you, T-Shroom. How high of a ranking do you think VeChain could get to?
Well, if they're going by, okay, so there's a couple of different ways to answer that. But if they're going by like their vision on their website, it's not competitive, right? They're just going right down the middle. What is somebody who's new to crypto or somebody who, takes themselves serious in crypto? What are they looking for in investment? And this is just a website built for that investor, right? But that's not competitive. Now, if they do what they're saying here, if they build a blockchain for our better world, and the world starts getting better because of VeChain,
right?
In the same way that like El Salvador has gotten better, because of Bitcoin. You can disagree or agree with that. Then maybe it gets into the top 5, into the top 10. But I think that VeChain is kind of a it's like a top 100 coin. I don't see it getting into the top 10. In fact, we talk about how Caspa could get in.
It's a top 30 coin currently, so
Yeah.
it's up there. It's just again we haven't seen it really press too much higher on the list.
Yeah, but I mean ultimately, like these kind of numbers that I've taken some notes on what you've been saying. In order to get to, this is the price prediction, $2.30, which doesn't sound like that crazy, right? Cardano kind of did that before. The other coins have done this. But it would have to bring in 160 billion market cap to hit that number. And at that time, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but at that time the supply would be 73.1 billion. Yes. So if you think that this is possible, then
by the way,
going to be hard pressed. Go ahead.
I put 2.2. Put 2.2 because that's where the 47% would go up to from here. 4,700%.
Sure. So if you believe this, then you'd be hard pressed to come up with an argument for why you shouldn't buy VeChain. Right. But Tim and I, from our perspective, we're sitting here looking at these numbers and we're looking at where Tether is, and Tether is around this market cap. Now, of course, market caps are going to increase as the bull run continues, but 160 is a tough ask, right? Now, does VeChain go higher from here? I do think that it continues to go higher for probably through the bull market, right? But I think that there's and this will be probably the 4th or 5th time I've said this, there's coins out there that are just going to dazzle investors and traders much more than VeChain. And if I'm wrong about that, I would be very, very surprised.
Yeah. Here's where we get into, here's going to be my prediction for you guys. We're going to work out the math here. Again, thank you for joining, everybody. We are sitting here live predicting, giving our live price prediction for VeChain. Let's go to my screen here, T-Shroom. This is where the other side of it is. We have our supply, as T-Shroom just talked about, 73.1 billion. That should be the expectation for the supply. Now we need to know where the market cap is going to be. Again, this article we just read is predicting a market cap of $160 billion. And I'm just gonna tell you guys, I think that's a little high. Unless VeChain does something super special, that's just a little too high. And here is why. Let's go back to where we actually peaked out in dominance here. This is the VeChain dominance chart, VET.D, meaning all of crypto, the highest dominance VeChain's ever gotten to was right here at 8.83%. Keep in mind, Cardano usually sits somewhere in the area of 4% at these bull market tops. Ethereum has been flirting with like the 20% zone. We're seeing others like Solana, flirt. They kind of like to flirt closer to 2 to 3%, but I think in this bull market get higher. Same thing with Chainlink. We're talking about a coin that I don't know if it has the flair to go crazy higher than this. I think it could be realistic potentially to see it get back to this level. You're going to see some people that want to use trend lines and say, oh, Tim, couldn't it do something like this and come up even higher? Maybe, but I wouldn't put too many high hopes on that. I think somewhere between 0.83 to 1% would be a realistic level for the dominance to get on VeChain. Now, that doesn't help us right there in and of itself. Now you have to ask the question. There's a lot of liberties you have to take, but for every other price prediction we've done on this channel, we have run with the theory that crypto's total market cap should get somewhere around $11 trillion. So, of course, if we see a coin with 10%, that's going to mean that they have a $1.1 trillion market cap. They have 10% of the whole thing. We have on our estimations, Bitcoin, I think, is going to stay above the 30% range, or we have Ethereum kind of hovering somewhere around the 15% range, give or take. If we do the math here, 80%, I'm going to go with 80%, nice clean number. 80% of 11 trillion is $88 billion. All right, 11 trillion. Let's say it gets to 1%. And again, I think that is really stretching it. Got to get all my numbers in here. times 0.001. We are talking about, I think I did that math wrong. That should be, I think, maybe 100. I mean, that should be, I mean, the math there should be simpler. 100 billion, 111 billion market cap. That is not the 160. I think 47 is going to be asking for a lot. That right there, let's just kind of like talk through that one. Let's see, what is this? 11. Oop, gotta go. Let's get back to this math. And I know there's websites that make this easier. I'm just using a calculator because that's just what I do. I'm a simple man who uses simple tools. Divided by, what was our total supply? 73 billion? 73.1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Close enough. Close enough for government work. Got the factoid we got to work in here.
We're talking about best case scenario, $1.50. $1.50 for VeChain. Let's go back over to our screen. And guys, that is not anything to shake a stick at. That's a very bullish prediction. I think if you were on the lower end, it's probably going to be somewhere a little bit over $1, but let's get rid of that for a second. Let's get rid of our Fibonacci levels for a second just so we can clean up the charts here as well. Let's make our mark here. $1.50 from where we currently are would still be a nice little 30. I mean, is that a 30x? Yeah, because it's like right there at 2,900. That's a 30x. That is still an amazing return for VeChain. Again, that's the upside. The lower side is going to be closer to $1, where we're still talking about a 22x. Remember, I told you that VeChain was overextended. If it just gets back to the previous dominance that it had with that supply, I would not be surprised to see a $1 to $1.50 for VeChain, and we're talking about somewhere between a 20 to 30x. That is a great investment. That honestly is a great investment. I think that puts it somewhere in the top 20, maybe pushing closer towards the top 15. But to me, that's about as bullish as it gets. And I do feel, I want to also be clear with this. When you guys are hearing this prediction, I also still feel like these are very aggressive predictions. There's a chance VeChain does not perform to the same level it did last market. It doesn't get back to 0.8% dominance. It actually goes a lot lower, and we're talking about maybe 50 cents, which is still a 2x from the last high. But what I'm seeing, if you are bullish on VeChain, if you love what it's doing, but you have an idea of reasonable expectation for how bullish it is, you are looking at $1 to $1.50 for the top of VeChain's price action. In the comments, let me know, what do you guys think about that concept? Did us breaking this down help you? Put a 1 in chat if this show has helped you understand better how to break down future price predictions. If you hated it, you can keep that thought to yourself and smash the like button anyway. No, you can do whatever you want. I'm a big fan of people telling us when they don't like things. If you did not like us doing that on a live show, please let us know. We'll never do it again. If you loved it, put a 1 in chat. Also, let me know, do you agree with that price prediction? Do you disagree? While we're waiting on those comments, and we'll do a couple Q&A, T&A. That took a little longer than I thought it was going to take, but I still think it was good. So let's get our factoid of the day, T-Shroom.
Let's get to factoid. I'm observing one last thing here, which is, we're not the biggest crypto, live show in the world, right? But when people see VeChain, we've used the hashtags VeChain in the video tags, right? There should theoretically be quite an overwhelm of in this kind of high marketing moment of folks coming into like you see with XRP sometimes, folks coming into the chat and defending VeChain. There hasn't been a lot of that, but there has been a handful, and then this one right here, Breadly Assassin. Thanks for watching.
What a great name.
He said Sonny, which I assume is like a leader over at VeChain. Sonny announced game-changing announcement for end of February, and they have secretly working with Cardano on something should be exciting.
Good.
Hey, I will be attentive. I will be thinking and listening around that time. If it's a big announcement, we absolutely will hear about it, especially if it has something to do with Cardano. So look, we're sitting here looking at the cold math of how you would estimate, what is the upper limit for VeChain based on what's realistic, based on data that we can see. What are the top 5 market caps? Do we think it could ever get as big as Bitcoin? So far, no coin has ever done that, and probably won't. Maybe, but probably won't. So anyway, let's keep moving. We do have the factoid of the day, but I appreciate you, Breadly Assassin, tuning in and helping defend VeChain. We definitely don't discourage people defending their investments, and it's not like we're attacking VeChain here. It's just we're just trying to look at the honest truth and just kind of cut off all the fluff and just look at exactly what it is. Well, speaking of cutting off the fluff, you may not want to pay your taxes, but you gotta, especially if you live in the United States. If you do, then you want to head over to decrypted.tax for those tax solutions. We're in tax season. That's why I'm bringing it up frequently. Head on over to decrypted.tax. We've got a link in our description. 25% off their professional tax services when you tell them that the bros sent you. So book your free consultation today and tell them that the bros sent you. Decrypted.tax. Tim, what major U.S. publication does Jeff Bezos own? Is it A, the New York Times, B, the Wall Street Journal? Is it C, WAPO, or D, LA Times?
I have no idea. I didn't know he owned one of these.
Oh, come on, Tim.
You want to know why I know he doesn't? What you want to know why I don't know what he owns? Because I don't care about a single one of these. You do have to go back to it though, because it does not help me to look at the bubbles. He owns it 100%. Can I ask for like some clarification help? Does he own it 100%?
Yes, I believe so.
I would be surprised if he owns the New York Times 100%. Even the Wall Street Journal. I mean, he's a West guy, so there's a part of me that wants to say D. What was C again? I see people saying C in chat. I have no idea.
C is
Washington
WAPO.
Post. A lot of people saying Washington Post. I'm going to go with the chat on this one. I have no idea, though. And to be honest, I would know. This is not going to let me. I'm not going to read any of these anyway. But let's just go with C.
Washington Post, baby.
Sometimes it pays to go with the chat.
There you go. Look at him. Old Jeffrey Bezos. He is the owner of the Washington Post. And I assume he's the outright owner. Unlike Elon Musk, who, remember, in the final hour of buying Twitter, he had to bring in the Saudis and bring in some other folks to be able to buy it. I'm sure he could have bought it outright if he really wanted to, but anyway. What do you think was the better buy? Let me know in the comments. Was it X or WAPO? What would you rather own? X? What do you think is the future of media?
I just want everyone to go to comments right now and type one letter, and that's X. The purchase of X was way better. Maybe not even monetarily, but like, have you seen those memes going around that it's like that it wasn't X that he purchased for $44 billion. It was freedom of speech.
Yeah,
it was freedom of speech. I mean, it's literally, Rumble, yes, you have freedom of speech on Rumble, and no disrespect to Rumble. The truth is we probably need to get on Rumble and start using it, but the attention's not there yet. You're not going to be able to speak to a lot of people via Rumble. But X not only was one of the largest platforms, it continues to be one of the largest platforms, and my expectation is that X, in the next 10 years, will take out all of them. No offense to YouTube. I love YouTube. This is where we are every single day. But YouTube, you have some censorship issues. I'm going to be honest with you. And hopefully that doesn't make you censor this show.
Hopefully
let people speak and then let smart people decipher. And why can't we go back to the world of where when someone says something dumb, which is whatever, if I say something on this side, this party's going to say it's dumb. If I say something over here, this person. What happened to the days of when instead of not allowing someone to say something dumb, we actually just debated with them and it proved why what they're saying was dumb? Instead of hurling insults, instead of silencing them, freedom of speech is a dangerous tool, but it's absolutely essential for people to survive in a free world.
All right, Tim, the ultimate.
Thank you to Elon for X.
The ultimate challenge. Tie in that message with the quote of the day. If you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. Can he do it? Can he do it, ladies and gentlemen?
Elon Musk is going to be sitting, and people have been hating Elon Musk for a while now, but he's just sitting at the river. He's taking a cold plunge with Charles Hoskinson, getting his morning off, and all of the upstream haters, Facebook, Meta,
nice.
TikTok, YouTube,
WAPO, LA Times.
They're all gonna. He's just waiting them out. He's gonna wait them out while their censorship drives all of their attraction away. And they're going to float down the river dead, and X will be supreme as the #1 social media platform.
I like it. I like it.
Speaking of X, make sure you guys, if you guys are not following me and T-Shroom and Investing Bros on X, there's the links down below in the description. Go follow us on X. We try to be more active over there. Also let me know. Should we keep posting our videos as Twitter videos? Sometimes they get good attention, sometimes they don't get good attention. Let us know if you guys want to see them in both YouTube and X. Otherwise, they're staying here on YouTube. We've made a colossal mistake, T-Shroom, but we're gonna make up for it. Do you know what that mistake is?
That we didn't read a super chat? I don't know.
No, we read super chats now. We don't miss super chats. Thank you, everyone who gives us super chats. No, it is Friday, and we did not do the community trade. So you know what that means, T-Shroom? That means we have to do it tomorrow.
I was going to say
in our Saturday. Yeah, that's also it. Tomorrow, Saturday special show, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will go live. And we will do our live trade tomorrow. We will announce the winner on Monday. So make sure you come back. This is wrapping up our weekly content. But, of course, we have the Saturday special edition. It's always a blast. Who knows what we're going to say? The truth is we never know what we're going to say on this show. That's what makes it so fun. And that's why you guys keep coming back. Smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe. We'll make sure to save a large portion of tomorrow for Q&A because we did not get any of that today. Yeah. But we love each and every single last one of you. Continue to wait by the bottom of the river because your enemies will be floating down sooner rather than later. You guys have a great weekend. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Investing bros.